old enough to catch their own prey gather here beneath the podcast for a clan meeting. Welcome to Paws and Clause, a podcast where we read the Warrior Cats books in chronological order. I'm Scout, joined by my co-host and package sender, Jillian, and today we will be discussing A Starless Clan, Book 5, Wind.
I got a package, people.
I've been sent a package. I have received my cats. Jill, if you remember, dear listeners, a few episodes ago mentioned, I don't know, what was that, last season or was that this season? I don't remember time anymore.
Man, who knows? I still can't believe it's already April.
Me either. That's crazy. Well, you got a bunch of the blind boxes and you had some duplicates that you sent me, and they have arrived to me. I have received a small yellow fang plush, and I have received my beloved Brightheart in a small toy form. They are now sitting here on my desk and watching me podcast. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. I'm delighted that they arrived.
As I said to you immediately after opening them, despite you telling me how soft the little plushies are, I was still surprised how soft this yellow fang is. Extremely soft. They're yellow fang.
Soft.
It's wild.
They're so soft. It's crazy.
I showed her to my father, who was nearby when I was opening the package, and his first instinct when I said this is yellow fang was, but how do you know she doesn't have little yellow fangs? How are you supposed to know it's her?
Oh my god.
And I said, Dad, that's a good point. They didn't give her any snaggletooths.
Yeah, I think the figure
might
has the snaggletooth.
Yeah, the figure's got the snaggle. But yes, my good friend, how is the prey running for you today?
The prey is running pretty good. So actually it's running excellently, thanks to my friends.
Hell yeah.
So we finally, after like a month of not being able to meet up due to various circumstances, aka spring break and me taking an impromptu trip up to DC, we've met up for the first time in like a month with our friends, and they made smoked pork belly sliders.
Yo.
Yeah, that were like kind of bao bun inspired, essentially. But our friend did like a southern twist on them, so used like barbecue sauce and like a Chinese sauce on the pork belly, got like a southern relish and cilantro, and did some like chopped hazelnuts on there, and put it on King's Hawaiian rolls instead of like steaming bread, because that was the easier option.
It's also the classic slider receptacle to me.
Also, God, I love a fresh King's Hawaiian roll. They're so soft.
It's so good.
And with the pork belly, they like soaked up all of the juice. Oh, it was so good. We all just started like some of the like crisp pork skin just kind of came off. Mm-hmm. And so we were kind of just crunching on that like potato chips. God, it was so good.
That sounds great.
We all could not stop eating, and there was so much. They sent us home with leftovers, and we had that for lunch today. And then I made a lemon icebox pie to go with it.
Yum!
Incredible. Finished that off tonight. Mm-hmm. And our dinner was, I made cheaters ragu, essentially.
Ooh.
I poured a thing of pasta sauce, like just a jar of pasta sauce, into the little crock pot, and tossed in the stew meat that they gave me the extra package of when I made Japanese curry a couple weeks ago. I just stuck the leftover stew meat in the fridge, tossed that in there, let that slow cook all day, and shredded the beef, and served it over tortellini. And it was so good.
Yummy. Hell yeah, that sounds tasty.
How about y'all?
Prey's been running well. Dad grilled hamburgers for lunch all weekend, like yesterday and today. Indulged in the burger 2 days in a row.
It's getting to be that time of year.
It is, and it's been warm here, and it cooled down a little bit, but it was warm again this weekend, so it was perfect burger weather, and I made the classic onion soup mix and sour cream dip to have with chips. I also love to
love
put that on. I replace the mayonnaise on my burger bun with the dip as like my condiment, and it's really good.
Whoa, that's so smart.
I just thought of it last year, I think, was the first time I had ever thought to do it, and my brain felt huge.
My mind is blown. That sounds delicious. Wow. I'm going to do that.
Yes, I highly recommend. And then earlier this week, I made a new recipe for me. I made ham tetrazzini, which is like chicken tetrazzini, except we had...
With ham.
Yeah, with ham. We had a small baking ham that we had for dinner last weekend, and there's always too much ham left over when you have a small baking ham, even a tiny one. And so we needed to find a way to use that, and I found ham tetrazzini, and it was good. I've never made a tetrazzini before, but I had fun, and we had some asparagus on the side, and it was tasty. It's definitely a different flavor from what a classic chicken tetrazzini would be. But it turned out really well.
Nice.
Yeah, extremely white people tetrazzini.
Yeah, well, I kind of view tetrazzini as an extremely white person dinner anyway.
It is like specifically Italian American, like versus a straight up Italian dish.
I got so burnt out on chicken tetrazzini as a kid. Like, I cannot begin to think of eating it again.
Oh, that's like me and hot dogs.
Maybe one day I'll try it again. But like, we had it so often as a kid. And I'm just like, all right.
I also made I made like a homemade cream of mushroom soup base for the sauce versus using a can. But I bet especially if you're using the canned soups, no shade to canned soups.
Oh,
but
no, I love a canned soup.
But if you have too many of them for too often, like anything, too much of a good thing, I think, can be can just overwhelm you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of like me with hot dogs. I always joke that I just reached my lifetime quota of hot dogs in early childhood, when like all I would eat is hot dogs cut into little circular slices and like stuck on toothpicks, and I would have a little pile of ketchup and I would dip them in like I had a little charcuterie board.
Honestly, real. Otherwise, not terribly much on my end for news. I know in the time since our last episode dropped and we are recording this, the newest Changing Skies book is out.
Yes. Which Guiding Light? Or is that it?
Guiding Light. No, Chasing Shadows, I think, is the one that just came out.
Chasing Shadows came out, but we have the title drop for Guiding Light. That's right.
Correct.
I continue to know nothing about that arc, really, except maybe one thing that I that I guessed, which we'll turn to someday.
I think the only thing I know is that one of the main characters is kind of a chimerism sort of pelt pattern is all I know.
Yes, that's a big one. And I think one of the other main characters is maybe a child of a second. I think that maybe they're both children of secondary characters, the characters that I know about. I don't know. Doesn't matter. We will get there eventually once that arc is all filled out.
Indeed.
As far as covers... Oops, I made her wide. I have one cover.
I made her wide.
I have one cover this week to talk about. This is the simplified Chinese language cover, not a magazine, but just like the full book. This is Sunbeam running with Leaf Kit in her jaws, bringing her to safety. I don't know if this is intentional on the part of the artist, or if this is just an accident that I happen to find happy, but Sunbeam is sort of in front of the burning tree that has been hit by lightning that is behind her. And if you kind of squint at this cover, it really looks like she has a big flaming tail. Like her tail is on fire, but in kind of like a cool metaphorical way. Like she has some sort of magical fiery spirit within her or something, and it's being showcased by her majestic tail. I think it's more likely it's just a visual tangent that happened But I like, in my mind, it is representative of something.
I think it's very cool.
The kitten. I see. The kitten's head is. You have to zoom in a little bit to see what's going on with the kitten's head, which is like turned in such a way that it's the top of her head. But when it was smaller, I was seeing it as like her head was to the side, and I was like, "What is that shadow?" I see now. I see.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in this cover.
Yeah, there's quite a bit.
There's also Hairstar back there. Who's the cat that's like running away? Just a cat.
Just a cat.
Got kind of a funky leg kick going. But yeah, I like that element of it. The big flaming tree that kind of looks like a tail if you don't look at it too closely. And I like seeing Sunbeam get her sort of moment in the spotlight here.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. You got anything else before I take us into the summary?
Yeah, go ahead and take us into the summary.
All right. Immediately following Podlight's assertion of Splashtail as the chosen leader of RiverClan, Frostpaw reveals herself to the gathering and denounces him as a murderer and a liar. But, considering her history of false visions, only a scant few cats are convinced of the declaration. Splashtail exiles her as a traitor to RiverClan, and she is taken in by ShadowClan for the time being. She continues to receive visions from StarClan surrounding RiverClan's plight, but convincing the other medicine cats and leaders of their truth remains a struggle. They at least remain incredulous to Splashtail's claim to leadership when he delays making the trip to the moon pool for his 9 Lives ceremony. Frostpaw convinces Puddleshine to spy on him when he finally does make the trip. Together, they witness Splashtail and Podlight mock the ritual and StarClan with it, completely oblivious to the fact that they're being watched by both the other medicine cats and by Riverstar, who makes an appearance to corroborate the legitimacy of Frostpaw's visions. Meanwhile, the park cats Waffle and Wasp are welcomed into ThunderClan as temporary guests. Nightheart hopes they will decide to stay, though they'd originally set their sights on joining RiverClan. Eventually, Waffle, now Wafflepaw, joins ThunderClan officially and is apprenticed to Nightheart, much to his surprise and delight. He's also delighted to be reunited with Sunbeam. But the couple isn't free of trouble just yet. Sunbeam learns that her family, exiled from ShadowClan after her mother's failed coup, is sheltering just outside WindClan territory and isn't doing particularly well. She sneaks out several times to visit them and help tend the infected wound Berryheart has sustained, going so far as making a plan with her father to bring her mother to ThunderClan for medical treatment. Unfortunately, she cannot make it to the rendezvous after being caught on WindClan territory and subsequently confined to camp as punishment. Though Nightheart goes in her stead, he finds no trace of them. At the next gathering, despite growing support from clan leadership, Frostpaw still does not have the backing to oust Splashtail. Above all else, the other leaders want the call for change to come from within RiverClan to avoid more external interference, as things are only just beginning to recover from ShadowClan's occupation of RiverClan. Luckily for Frostpaw, there is a budding resistance from within. Mothwing, Icewing, and Duskfur are attempting to rally other clanmates to the cause, but Frostpaw doesn't have much time to dwell on this. She's received another vision, this time warning of danger to WindClan as a terrible storm blows in over the lake. She tries to warn Kestrelflight, their medicine cat, but when he continues to disbelieve her vision's validity, she takes matters into her own paws, enlisting help from ThunderClan via Nightheart and Sunbeam, meaning our 3 protagonists are finally doing something all together. She rushes to help rescue a trapped kit from WindClan's nursery, flattened moments before by a lightning-felled tree. This, finally, fully proves Frostpaw's legitimacy to WindClan's leadership. Continuing to work together, the trio are ordered by Squirrelstar and Tigerstar to spy on RiverClan's camp and check in on the progress of the resistance. When they arrive, they take in several startling developments. First, the dissenters have fled and Splashtail is readying to hunt them down. Second, remember Sunbeam's family? They're here now, and Berryheart is vocally supporting Splashtail. Third, when Hairlight, Frostpaw's former mentor and Splashtail's deputy, steps forward to question his new leader's vitriol, he is killed by Splashtail in front of the whole clan. And his newly vacant position is filled by Berryheart.
Some whack-ass shit happening in that last chapter.
It's the last couple of chapters. I don't know what to make of them. I don't know what happened. I barely processed what was going on. They hit me like a truck, and I don't think I mean that as a compliment.
We will get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Berryheart has begun to perplex me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. So, this book was a book in which things happen.
Yeah. I think there's things in this book that I enjoyed more than our previous read. I think It's probably a worse book. I don't know. All of the books in this arc are very confusing to me in the way they feel to read, which is that it's not bad. I suppose maybe I should just bring up this note that I have right away, because I think that it will color the whole conversation probably. Mm-hmm. But I've noticed a trend with this arc. I think I've brought it up slightly previously, but to really put a point on it, in a lot of previous arcs, we have very low lows and we have very high highs. I have not felt the cratering lows that we have gotten in previous arcs, previous seasons. Especially, I think we both had some real low points with, even going back as far as Omen of the Stars, but especially in Vision of Shadows and The Broken Code. Both of those had some real lows for us. But I also haven't felt exceptionally soaring highs here. There is some stuff, especially in the first book, I think, that we really liked a lot.
I feel like the first book was a really strong start to this arc. Mm-hmm. And the thing that makes me upset about this arc is, on paper, just looking at the plot line, I should be, like, eating this shit up. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But it feels like, and I think this is part of the thing that we have repeated over and over again, is that all three of our main characters don't really interact that much. Mm-hmm. I feel like that really makes a lot of the flow of certain plot points just kind of jarring. I feel like it doesn't give scenes, like, we're just repeating the same thing that we've said this entire arc. It doesn't give room for things to breathe. It kind of is very concerned with, like, well, we gotta wrap up whatever's going on with Frostpaw this chapter because we have to write a Nightheart chapter next. And it feels like in some of the chapters, they are just filling it. It feels very much, I don't like to use the word filler because I feel like people have taken it to a incorrect place nowadays and just say anything that doesn't move the plot along. But filler is very important for, like, character development. But I feel like a lot of these chapters are just filling space because, well, we have to give so-and-so a chapter.
Yeah, they're wheel spinning, right?
Yes. And so it just does feel like there's the pacing feels very jarring. It feels like we are getting, there's no consistent tone through the book is kind of what it feels like. Like, it's not, this is the action book, this is the journey book, this is like, it's like, well, there's this going on with this character, and then this character's doing this, and it feels disjointed. And I think it really suffers for that because I feel like there is a lot of potential with, honestly, all three of their storylines. Like, I know I was very cool on Nightheart's storyline at the beginning, but, like, I think there is a lot of potential there. And I just feel like the potential is kind of not drawn out as much as it could have been.
Yeah. I think something that has been cropping up, I think this is a new story team pitfall, especially. Not to say that it isn't something that existed in previous arcs either, but it seems like something that, like, this is a thing that both of us have brought up every time since sort of the new story team takeover around Vision of Shadows, is the same argument is had every chapter in a slightly different way. We had Frostpaw convincing one individual cat that her visions are real like 7, 8 times it felt like in this book. We had the same conversation about every time somebody new came onto Frostpaw's side, the same conversation was still had after that, which is, we don't want to do anything about Splashtail because we want RiverClan to make the choice themselves. We don't need to have it that many times. We can just have it.
We understand.
We can have it the one time. Like, I'm not here to say, I love political intrigue. I love messiness with politics, but just citing the same problem over and over again, just with slightly different people, isn't really the same thing as having messy politics. It's just the same sort of story beat going on and on.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree.
And I think there's not points in any of these books in this arc where I'm like having a bad time reading it. It's just that I don't feel like there's points where I feel like I'm not having any kind of time reading it.
Yeah.
I'm just reading it.
There are definitely points where I'm like, okay, I'm reading this chapter because I need to read this chapter to get to whatever is coming next. Like, it doesn't feel purposeful all the time, which in a children's action adventure series kind of should feel a little purposeful.
I feel like, yeah. And I feel like, I think the other problem is even if it wasn't stuff that was moving the action forward or moving the plot forward, but it was stuff that was really characterful, then that would be fine. But I continue to struggle to find compelling characterization in the general sort of day-to-day writing that's in here. Even the stuff with like Nightheart becoming a mentor to Wafflepaw, it feels like I should have more of an emotional connection to that, and I should be more excited about that because I really like it in concept. I like the idea of I always love to bring an outside cat into a clan. Maybe ThunderClan always doing this, but maybe Wafflepaw will be what I didn't get from Stormcloud. I've always the potential of Stormcloud
had so much potential. I'm still bitter about that.
I want Stormcloud to have purpose. So like maybe we could get that, or maybe it's just going to be the same thing again, where like a cat comes in and they're kind of have their moment and then they just fade into the background of the clan and their name comes up occasionally. But I like Wafflepaw fine, but it doesn't feel like there's much being said with the Wafflepaw stuff. It feels more like it's just a thing that's happening. Yeah,
it just kind of feels like it doesn't feel like there's a reason for it. Like, I don't get what Wafflepaw is really supposed to do here, because it's one thing for Wafflepaw to have not decided like, oh yeah, actually you should be ThunderClan's the best. I don't want to move to RiverClan anymore. It would have been more interesting if Wafflepaw had been like, no, I want to live in RiverClan. And as he says, like, the RiverClan that exists now is not the RiverClan that I want to be in. Like, instead of saying, so I'm just going to be in ThunderClan because you guys have all told me how cool you are. Like, I feel like Wafflepaw could have been more of a RiverClan right now is not the clan that I learned about or the clan that I want to join because it is not what it should be. So I'm going to do something about that and help them like become who they are meant to be. Like, it would have been more interesting to me if Wafflepaw had been like kind of... It just bothered me that Nightheart was like, well, we're bringing them back to go to RiverClan, but now that they can't exactly go to RiverClan, I gotta make sure that they know how cool ThunderClan is, when like 3 books ago you were like, I fucking hate being in ThunderClan.
That's true. That's a good point.
It just felt so like reinforcing that ThunderClan's the cool clan and the main character clan, and it's like, man, just like, he really wanted to go to RiverClan, so why couldn't that be his driving motivation to like be more of a force in the story?
They even almost try and do something with Wasp where Wasp like sort of sneaks away to try and join RiverClan, and you think, oh my god, it's going to be this big thing where Wasp is going and Splashtail is in this sort of
fucking kill him.
Hyper violent mode, is going to kill him, is going to capture him, is going to do something. And like immediately he just comes back. And the supposed consequence of his actions is that now it's harder for Frostpaw, Nightheart, and Sunbeam to spy on RiverClan, but that doesn't happen. So there's not really any stakes. There's not a lot of stakes in this book.
Yeah.
All of the stakes feel very, very low. I have some notes for things, and I do have a lot of small things that I really liked.
Yeah.
Number 1, Thornclaw says something annoying and Cloudtail baps him. Shout out. I loved that.
Incredible.
The ThunderClan elders really were shining in this book for me.
I did really like them.
Number 2, there's a scene where Breezepelt and a WindClan patrol overhear Nightheart and Sunbeam doing family planning.
That was so fucking cringe.
So funny to me.
I was just like, oh my god. I would have evaporated.
It's truly, it's a worst nightmare scenario for happening in real life, but happening in the fiction, I was cracking up, and especially because it's Breezepelt, girl dad of all time. Now he has become girl dad. Felt especially funny. I liked Sunbeam going to Squirrel Star about wanting to check on her family, and Squirrel Star being like, I can't, wink, let you, wink, get caught on WindClan territory, wink, wink, wink.
Yeah.
And trying to...
I certainly can't tell you to go do this, and I definitely wouldn't want to have to pick you up your WindClan territory. It was so fucking funny, and the way that she and Nightheart were like, well, are we sure that she was really, like, trying to, like, subtly tell you this? Meanwhile, Brambleclaw in the back is like... He's like dying of laughter, like at his mate trying to like be subtle about like, yes, go break the rules to check on your family, because that is some shit that Squirrel Star would have done.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's another really nice moment. I think it's right before Sunbeam gets her punishment, where Squirrel Star sort of takes her aside and is like, listen, we're both new. I'm new to leading. We're both new in ThunderClan in different ways. I'm new to leading ThunderClan. You're new to being in ThunderClan. We have certain expectations that we're trying to meet, like, and it was just nice to have this moment of her being sort of, we're in this together, but also I gotta give you the punishment.
Yeah.
I actually really appreciated how normal most cats were about Sunbeam trying to go visit her family.
Yeah.
That feels very different from how this kind of thing has gone over in previous arcs. Even Hairstar and Crowfeather were supremely nice about it.
Crowfeather was so, like, which makes sense because of the whole thing with Nightcloud and all that. Like, Crowfeather and Breezepelt being like, look, I get it. We have to do this for appearances, but, like, I get it.
Yeah, we get you. I liked that stuff. Point to the writing team. I don't think so far, you guys are on thin ice. Squirrel Star has fallen into leader personality disease. She's still sort of making tentative decisions, which is sort of the thing that she was angry with Brambleclaw about when he was still Bramblestar. But I do think that it's not so egregious as to feel like it's out of character. I think she is still feeling a lot like Squirrel Flight in these moments. Another small moment I loved was Hairstar saying, maybe one day, Hairlight, the clans will have 2 Hairstars.
It was so funny.
It's such a funny line to write into the book. There will never be 2 Hairstars now. Rip to Hairlight.
Yeah.
We'll get there, but that scene is fucking wild. I really liked a callback to Squirrel Star getting stuck in all kinds of places in her youth.
Yes!
Shout out.
Like, oh my god, don't worry, Squirrel Star got stuck in everything. It's like, wow, imagine being Squirrel Star and finding out that everyone's talking about how embarrassing it was when you got stuck all the time.
He's constantly, this is being brought up all the time. It's also something that Brambleclaw teased her about very recently, I think. And I love that. I love that that is a through line with Squirrel Star. It's just that she used to get stuck under shit. And the last one I have in my little list here is we had a Brackenfur moment. It was a very small Brackenfur moment, but at one point he said that he couldn't have shored up the den better when Nightheart and Sunbeam and the new apprentices were all shoring up the den against the high winds of the storm. And I was like, he said that because he was one of the builder dads. He couldn't have shored it up better himself. The next generation is learning.
He's got his he does his like very dad like grunt of approval.
Exactly.
A moment that I thought was very silly. I don't know if I like it, but was kind of a fun moment was Sunbeam like laying on the compliments real thick to Nightheart because she's like in panic mode and is like, I'm just gonna babble. And he's like, yep, keep telling me how pretty my eyes are. And she's just like, yep, your eyes are so pretty. And I'm definitely not thinking about the fact that my mother is probably dying right now. Very real moment. I also, the other moment the small moment I loved is when Nightheart, Bayshine, and Finchlight are taking their apprentices back to camp. And the apprentices start, like, bragging about who's gonna be the best warrior ever. And so all three of the mentors decide to, like, hide and scare the shit out of them. And so both Bristlepaw and Greypaw, like, run off scared, and Wafflepaw is, like, literally rolling on the floor laughing.
Yeah, he's having a Raffle moment.
He is having his Raffle moment, but, like, I just thought it was such a fun moment for Nightheart, to be, like, kind of give him a little bit of a goofy moment, because, there's, as he and Sunbeam both lament in their chapters, man, they really just want to have a normal life right now.
They do, and they keep not
like,
being able to.
I would love to just be able to spend time with my partner. Too bad everything is happening.
Everything keeps happening all the time to them. Yeah, I really liked that. I enjoyed. I think it's very funny that we have Nightheart, Finchlight, and Bayshine getting apprentices, and then Stempaw is relegated to Mole Whisker, which Mole Whisker again? This man keeps getting apprentices. But it's very funny because like Mole Whisker goes off with Stempaw in some totally different direction.
Yeah. I do kind of wish, I know that like she was on punishment at the time and like whatever, but I do kind of wish Sunbeam had been able to mentor one of those apprentices
because
after
she has
the whole thing that she did with her. Yeah, I think it would have been nice, but I get why it didn't.
Yeah, it does feel like it would have been a really good thematic through line with what I've been picking up with Sunbeam a lot, which is that she's really good with kids. We have that moment again later when she rescues Leafkit from the fallen tree, and she sort of takes this moment to comfort her and let her know, like, I'm a friend. I'm going to get you out of here and take you back to your mom outside. She's very worried about you. And it's just a nice, it felt very similar to how well she handled Spotfur's kits. So it would be nice to see her get an apprentice and also get to utilize these skills that she has if she's good with kids. I think that's a great sort of character trait to have. Oh, going back briefly to the elders, I mentioned earlier they were a big highlight for me. I actually loved the scene where the ThunderClan elders were giving the Cliff's Notes for the first few arcs of the series to Wasp and Waffle. I really liked hearing those stories told, like, in just a couple of sentences, and the way that they used the park cats to pose questions, like the way the park cats were like, wait, you said 4 clans. I thought, what about Sky Clan? Where was Sky Clan? And then they have to describe what was going on with Sky Clan.
I will say about the Nightheart Sunbeam, like, are we having kids convo? Seems like something you should have talked about before leaving your clan for the other, but, you know, go off. Very much.
It's true, yeah.
Very much, I waited until I was very deep in a relationship before discussing with my partner whether or not we're going to have have kids, and our views don't align. Situation that so many folks seem to find themselves in.
True.
So good for them that it actually worked out.
Yeah. I will also say good on the writing team for even
having the conversation,
putting it in here at all, which is something like very much until this point, it has pretty much just been assumed as a given that a pairing will have kits and like that will feed the next generation of books or whatever. And the last time they tried to do something with this, it was Twig, Branch, and Finleap, and it really sucked.
Yeah, and it did not, absolutely not.
They did not do it good. So this is at least an improvement on that, but you're also absolutely right. You do not have to hand it to them as characters that they waited this long.
Yeah. Rare Leaf Star. Leaf Star has, like, I used to love her so much. She's she's such a background character now because we don't have anyone in SkyClan anymore. But, like, she is constantly making decisions that I am like, what is going on in your brain?
I feel like she's unfortunately a centrist.
Yeah.
This is the read I get from her. But yeah, I agree. I think her wholeheartedly accepting Splashtail immediately is that's an L. That's an L for her for sure.
Yeah.
Tentatively, I would say Tiger Star got a small dub. He had a conversation with his clan about his leadership and said, you can bring things up to me. Even if he's not great at accepting the criticism, he at least opened the door.
Yeah.
He did then like immediately go to Frostpaw and be like, why did you say something when I asked if people had grievances? Like, dude, my brother in Christ, you asked for the grievances.
Yeah.
But then he took it okay in the end. We'll give you a tiny little dub. I'm sticking it on your shirt, buddy. There you go. I think I like Hairstar a lot in this book overall.
I do too. I feel like he got like a lot more characterization. He's not just guy who runs WindClan in this book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked his moments with Sunbeam and his moments with Frostpaw. I feel like he could probably... There was one point we took him out of the blunt rotation because he did something stupid. I think he's in a probationary scenario. He could be back in the blunt rotation.
I agree.
You know who else deserves to be in the blunt rotation and is also just all around such a good dude is Bayshine.
Bayshine is a lovely character. There's a lot of... I feel like a lot of people kind of ship him and Nightheart.
Well, because they're bros. They're best bros.
They're best bros. They only have 2 fics on AO3, but I've seen it a lot on Tumblr.
I really, really like the scene where Sunbeam went to Bayshine to be her accomplice in sneaking herbs out of the clan camp to go bring them to her family. And I really liked Bayshine's whole reaction to that, of just immediately being like, absolutely, I've got your back. But also, first of all, I love that. I don't want to take away that I love that and I love that scene. Mm-hmm. But it does kind of suck that it's Bayshine and not Nightheart, because again, it feels like we are constantly being robbed of moments where we could see actual connection between Sunbeam and Nightheart.
It just feels like it took so long to get them all together.
Literally page 227 of the 5th book in a 6-book arc.
I feel like that whole situation of the storm kind of felt like very out of place for what a lot of the stuff that's been going on has been.
I fully believe it was just squeezed in there because they wanted it to make some kind of sense that this book was called Wind, because they had a theme of all of the clan names being represented as the titles of this arc. And then they got all the way here and they got to Wind and they said, oh, fuck, we haven't involved Wind Clan in this at all. What do we do?
Yeah.
That's perhaps a tinfoil hat conspiracy, but that's really what it felt like.
No, I can see that.
Because I agree, it doesn't really fit with everything else that's been happening. It is executed and resolved very fast. It feels very much like we got to take care of this real quick, and then we can get back to the other thing, which is the thing that's actually been happening.
Yeah.
You know, that everybody is invested in. What it does give us is very brief, once again, look into Frostpaw and Whistlepaw, Yuri. Mm-hmm. I appreciated that scene.
I really wish that we could get them together officially. I love them.
They're great. And I love a tending wound scene, because since this wasn't in my summary, Whistlepaw gets really injured trying to tackle that tree situation, the fallen tree, before Sunbeam ends up being able to sort of squeeze in there, and Whistlepaw gets really injured. And so then we have this scene of Frostpaw tending Whistlepaw's wounds, and they talk a lot about what they mean to each other, and it is a very gay scene to me.
Yeah.
But I wish there was more. I wish we just had more time with them.
I don't think I had too many other notes. I like that Ivy Pool was very much voice of reason / voice of someone who has read 1 billion Warrior Cats books. When
genre savvy Warrior Cat.
Yeah. When it comes to like they're talking about like, well, you know, other cats have lied before about like getting 9 lives and stuff like that. And she's like, this happened with this cat, this happened with this cat. We all know what happened with Broken Star and Night Star and all that. Even if you're doing it for the right reasons, it's gonna shake out bad. Mm-hmm. So I did appreciate her, because like literally as they're having that conversation, I was like, oh well, what about Night Star? And then immediately she's like, and then Night Star. I'm like, thank you, Ivy Pool.
Ivy Pool has read the books.
Also, not to pick beef with StarClan again.
Yeah.
You know, Frostpaw brought up something that really made me think, because I don't know if we've really talked about it that much in a long time. If supposedly StarClan is able to cover the gathering, or the moon with clouds at a gathering to signal they are upset, and they are so clearly upset about the fact that Splashtail is taking charge of RiverClan, could we not cover the clouds at the gathering? Like, it feels like there's so many gatherings where the truce gets broken, or there's like shit going on that like StarClan would intervene on, and like it just doesn't stop.
That's such a good
Or like
point.
The clouds come towards the moon and nobody like gives a shit about it. It's like, I feel like we've lost that aspect of gatherings, it feels like.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, kind of, I had another note that I didn't actually put in the doc, but is in the same vein, which is like, I know that it's because the story wouldn't go forward otherwise, but why isn't StarClan sending Frostpaw is right visions to the other medicine cats other than Puddleshine? They're
like, if they're so insistent on Frostpaw being believed, like, then maybe help people do that.
Please.
She is a child. Like,
please.
She cannot, she is not going to be convincing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she already waited too long to even reveal this, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it wouldn't take, I mean, River Star appears to her and Puddleshine, but then they use sort of Puddleshine's position as ShadowClan's medicine cat, and ShadowClan having just sort of made moves to interfere with RiverClan before against his word. So it's like, okay, but you've got 4 or 5 other different medicine cats that you could also send visions to be like, yeah, Frostpaw's right. And I know that it's a whole thing where they want Frostpaw to do it for herself, but it doesn't have, it's causing so much more strife and complication in the world than it needs to.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of those situations where if the story was working at a higher level, that kind of thing probably wouldn't bother us, right? But because the story itself is sort of overall not going on at the clip that keeps us really engaged with like what's happening on the page, it gives our brain enough time to disengage and do the CinemaSins thing, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I like, to be clear, I don't want to be doing the CinemaSins thing with warriors. I want to just be, like, having a good time.
Exactly.
But yeah, sometimes the inconsistencies feel so glaring amidst just absolute, like, fluff on the page that I'm like, okay, please.
Yeah. Firstly, I want to call out, we got some real dastardly shit going on from Splashtail all through this book. He and Podlight want to put Frostpaw in the sanitarium. Like the way they talk about Frostpaw.
They're so mean. The fact that they're like literally anime villain laughing about her at the moon pool, it's crazy.
There's multiple points where it's truly like they're trying to claim she has hysteria, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, her poor mind where she's so confused.
Yeah. Very, like, the way you said that made me think of, like, fucking from Beauty and the Beast. It's like, crazy old Maurice.
Crazy old Frostpaw.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
absolutely.
Diabolical. So the last, like, 2 chapters, wild things happened, and I'm not sure. The Sparrowheart thing is kind of like sticking in my craw here.
All right.
I'm sure, because it's a cliffhanger, like, I'm sure we'll get more, like, idea about, like, this particular motivation. But for someone who was so, like, MAGA for Shadow Clan, why the fuck? Like, unless it is revealed, which this is probably what would happen, that, like, Splashtail promises her, like, oh, well, we'll go and get rid of Tiger Star and then you can lead Shadow Clan or whatever the fuck. But, like, the way she is just there in River Clan going along with everything, it just didn't feel like that is what Sparrowheart would do. She is so stubborn that, like, the fact that she decided to ally herself with River Clan just feels out of character, in my opinion.
No, I absolutely see that and agree, I think. Because, yeah, her whole personality is how much she loves Shadow Clan. And this kind of thing has sort of flown with, like, the original Tiger Star, who was at one point extremely gung-ho about ThunderClan and then shifted his aspirations over to Shadow Clan when an opportunity arose. And it makes sense for him because his whole personality is being opportunistic. That's not really what Sparrowheart's whole personality is.
And he didn't necessarily, like, he wasn't like, I have to be leader of ThunderClan specifically. He was like, I gotta be leader, and I just gotta, like, I've gotta be in power.
Right. It was about personal power. It wasn't about community superiority in the way that it is with Sparrowheart. Yeah. Yeah, it feels like they're just trying to find a way to consolidate the villain arcs, kind of, you know, or the conflicts in the same way that they're kind of trying to finally bring Nightheart and Sunbeam and Frostpaw together as a trio. Yeah. But both of the executions on both of those things feels very sloppy and rushed. And all of
saying it's rushed is so fucking funny because this is book 5.
I know, but because they didn't do anything for so long. Exactly.
Because nothing was done, they made it feel so rushed, and it's like, why did you wait so long to this?
It's the same thing as the issues I had with the way that Nightheart joined up with Frostpaw in the last book, is you had 3 books to set this up. Like 3 previous books to set this up, and you didn't do it then, and now you are squeezing it in here. And it just didn't have to be like that. It didn't have to be like that.
Yeah, you didn't have to do that. There are a ton of things you could have done. 100%.
That's my notes for this book.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say.
Well, let me take us over to the Erin Corner then.
Well, yes.
I got a couple things today. I found another sort of manuscript timeline look here. According to the wiki, the story team began plotting this book in November 2022. Cherith mentioned she'd recently finished her draft in June 2023, and the book was released in April 2024. So that's a much longer timeline than I usually presume they have. And again, I am interested in what happens between those dates, right? Like how many different drafts is Cherish? Oh my God. How many different drafts? How many different drafts is Cherith doing? Is this her finishing her first draft? Is this her finishing her final draft? What is happening to it for the next 10 months? Is it just sitting there done and then, it's until it's ready for printing? Is it being edited? I'm always curious and I have no insight on it, but it's fun to bring it up because it's fun to say, look at that.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey, check out these numbers. Years. I got them. One thing I noticed in the text was that Waffle/Wafflepaw is misgendered multiple times throughout the narration, and it led me to wonder if he was originally meant to be a she-cat and they changed his gender very late in the editing timeline, because it happened in like different scenes and it happened at different times, and it felt like maybe things that had been missed during a changeover versus just writers being confused about who was in the scene, I'm
gonna be so for real. The misgendering of Wafflepaw like fully went over my head. I did not know through the entire book what gender they were supposed to be. I was just like, that's Wafflepaw. Their pronouns are waffle. Like I was just like,
You just thought Wafflepaw was using he, him, and she, her pronouns.
Well, I didn't even register that. Is it bad for me to say I just don't really care about Wafflepaw?
I think that's totally fair because I don't think they've given us a lot to care about.
I cared so much more about Bee, and they left that little guy in the park. So
they did leave Bee in the park.
So, yeah, no, I didn't even notice, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and if that is the case, I'm very curious about the reason that it was changed. I have this is complete speculation. This is not based on anything other than my own ideas of what a story team might be thinking, as also an occasional storyteller, is I wonder if at some point they were going to do some kind of love triangle fake out thing, like Nightheart questioning if he has feelings for Waffle, or Sunbeam getting jealous because Nightheart is spending all this time with Waffle because Waffle is his apprentice.
Yeah.
Maybe that kind of thing was going on, and then they dropped that, and maybe it was tied into my other note that I have here, which is something I haven't brought up yet, but I have seen in my research, which is that the story team did originally plan to have Nightheart and Sunbeam break up. And I don't know at what point in the series they were going to break up, which is why I haven't brought it up until now. I was kind of waiting to see if an opportunity would have presented itself that I could see the point at which this would happen and like the rest of the story would continue to work. But I'm not sure, because it kind of read to me like they made the change and it didn't lead to them having to change that much else about the arc. And like, if it was that the breakup that happened when Nightheart went back to ThunderClan had stuck, then that would be a significant shift in the way that the story would play out from there. So I don't know. I have no further authorial insights on that. But it's interesting to know about. I think it's interesting to think about that they had a breakup plan, because they haven't done much with breakups throughout.
Yeah, and I think that's something we talked about too, is like, or maybe that was just what we talked about in the Discord. I think it was just a Discord conversation, is like, I would love to see more relationships that are not just two characters get together. Like, give me a little bit more.
Yeah. And we did have, you had mentioned in, I think
very famously, we did have Ashfur breakup, like the Ashfur breakup.
That's
very
true.
Significant.
That, you gotta hand it to them. That was a significant breakup. Maybe that's why they don't do it anymore.
But I would also like smaller breakups of like, this is a complaint I have about a lot of things, I think, is like, in a lot of stories, there's such a, like, they're gonna find the one person and that's gonna be the one person they're with. There's not a lot of room for, like, characters to just date and, like, realize, like, oh, this is not, like, what we want, and move on. Like, it would be nice for there to be more than just, I am freshly made a warrior and I have found the love of my life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I suppose, I guess we kind of got a breakup with Blazefire, but
yeah,
they were never official. I suppose you could also say, you could make the claim that there's been a breakup with Tigerheart and Dovewing. They were on again, off again, sort of, but that was so in the background that I don't know if I would count it as being something on the same level as like a main perspective character breakup during the arc where they are main perspective characters.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I believe in the Shadow episode, you also talked about the idea of them having a literal like green card marriage and then just being good friends after that. I like that idea as well. Maybe that was closer to what the Erins had in mind for a breakup, but I don't know. The way that it was worded made it seem more like it would have been a messier breakup or like something that was more negative to the characters than just neutral.
Who knows?
Who knows? That's the Erin Corner today. It's a bunch of just me saying nonsense. What do you got?
I love when you say nonsense.
Oh, thank you. Sometimes I just say nonsense. What's going on in Sharing Tongues?
Honestly, not much. A lot of what I found on Tumblr was people doing like their live reacts, which like is fun, but also not always what I'm kind of looking for. This person did make a very excellent point. Dragon Eyes 613 said, "The thing is, no one exists in a vacuum. What set Splashtail down this path? It can't have been only an entirely Curlfeather. Did Splashtail's parents ever make condescending remarks about StarClan or Misty Star? Did he ever occasionally probe his sister Fognose to see if she felt the same way about StarClan that he did? Splashtail origin story, Erin's, I beg you." Like, I agree. I really do like Splashtail's character overall, but especially with like how out of control he gets in this book, it doesn't make sense necessarily. Like how did he get here? How did he get so wild with it?
Yeah, because we have even the prologue of this book, which is a Splashtail POV.
Yeah.
But even there, it's more just about power. And that's kind of the thing even that I think some of the cats mention in fiction in this book is like, if he already is in charge of RiverClan, why does he continue to seek something more? What is that motivation?
Yeah, like if it was all about running RiverClan, like why are we continuing to do stuff? Then we've got somebody did a clip, McLeod Andrews going off with his performance of Splashtail murdering Hairlight.
I will have to listen to that.
So I'm listening to that right now.
Oh, okay.
So that went hard. I really liked, I love McLeod Andrews' performance in these books. It's so fucking good.
Yeah.
I really think that was, I'm glad somebody clipped that. It was very, very fun thing to listen to.
Wow, yeah. The way he goes so big on that one line read is really good.
It was so good.
The cats of that RiverClan did not worry about territory or strength or legacy. They just sat on their paws all day. The last few words were spat out viciously. Silence fell.
That's really good. Yeah, like you said, I love McLeod Andrews. Does incredible work.
Incredible work. Thank you, King, for all you have done. Somebody ran a Who Should Leave RiverClan poll. So the results after Sky had Frostpaw in the lead, with Mothwing close behind. The other options were Minnowtail, Splashtail, Nightheart, Mosspelt, Wafflepaw, and someone else. And about a week after Wind came out, Mothwing was in the lead, with the second place being Icewing, then Frostpaw, and then the other options were Nightheart, Splashtail, who had zero votes, Wafflepaw, Mosspelt, Minnowtail, Duskfur, and someone else. I think that was very funny.
Yeah.
Good stuff. This one is a mention of that while they're giving Wasp and Waffle the crash course. Wasp looked at Waffle. I didn't understand a word of that, he grumbled. And it's Warrior Cats fan talking to a normal person.
Yeah, this is...
That's how I feel.
I am going to read this whole thing because I think it is exactly what it's like when I try and explain specifically the Broken Code arc to somebody who doesn't read Warrior Cats. Brambleclaw was a great leader too when he was Bramblestar, Squirrelstar declared with an affectionate glance at her mate. He survived the time when he was trapped in the Dark Forest and helped us to rid the clans of Ashfur, a wicked cat who tried to destroy us all. Wasp looked at Waffle. I didn't understand a word of that, he grumbled.
That's me every time I'm trying to tell Eric about what's happening in these books.
Every time once you get to the Dark Forest and the cats have hell, and then you also get to, and another cat tried to take over Cat Hell and began to destroy it with his own rancid vibes, then it really starts to unravel, for people as to what is going on.
Yeah.
Very brief shout out to the Hank Green video that's going around where Hank Green has thoughts about Warrior Cats. I do love that Hank Green is reading Warrior Cats with his child and then hence wants to make a video about it.
Hank Green, I just want to talk. Actually, I told friend of the pod, AC. I saw AC last weekend.
Yes!
As well as several other wonderful folks. But AC and several others had mentioned the Hank Green Warrior Cats video to me. They're like, Jill, have you watched that yet? And I was like, I can't watch that because if Hank Green says something that I know more about than him, I'm not going to be able to handle keeping quiet. I was like, it will psychologically destroy me if I have to watch somebody who I looked up to as a teenager get something wrong about a subject that I know very much about. I was like, I am sure it is a great video. I will not be, my psyche cannot handle watching it.
That's so fair. The thing that made me think of it is I think I sort of know the point to which he's read through the books, and it is before we ever get to the Ashfur stuff, and I'm just so curious to know how that changes his thoughts. I've watched most of it. It is a good video, but I also can totally understand not being emotionally prepared for that, because it is something it's always hard. I find it's always hard to hear other people's thoughts about a thing that you spend a lot of time thinking about. Sometimes it can be tough. And it's that's not to say we should all live in a vacuum, but...
Right. I see it more of and this is maybe me putting too much of importance on myself, but I see myself as somewhat of an expert in the field of Warrior Cats. So seeing someone who is generally considered an expert of fields that he approaches makes me so I don't want to see somebody that I generally look up to get it wrong. I will become that tweet of give me your address so that I may explain to you my opinions or whatever the fuck it is. Mm-hmm. That being said, Hank Green, if you're listening and you want to talk about Warrior Cats with me, I have no issue with that. Let's fucking do it. The last Tumblr post that I saved is this one, which is Hairlight. Yeah, I'm not really sure this is a great idea. Splash Shell, and it's one of those slow motion videos where somebody's cat is falling from the ceiling and just bouncing on him. Perfect thing.
That scene was whack.
That was wild. That took me completely by surprise. I was not expecting that. I do kind of love that it happened. I'm still not sure how I feel about the direction that Splashtail is taking as a villain.
Yeah.
But I do think, you know what? If you're gonna end on some wild shit, let's end on some wild shit, I guess.
Go big or go home.
Exactly. There are 7 fics for this book on AO3. One of them is somebody writing a redemption arc for Sparrowheart. You can do whatever you want in fiction. I don't care.
They can go
I
on
don't
their
have
way.
to like it. Namaste on your journey.
Not for us.
Again, namaste on your journey for this next one that I found, which was a Magnus Archives crossover fic. Where John and Martin of Magnus Archives fame interact with Rock of Warrior Cats fame. What? And I think it was only tagged with this book because it takes place during that time period. Because we have not seen Rock in forever. So, hell yeah, I love freaks on the internet.
That's a lot to process.
Yeah. There's also a couple of Frostpaw, Whistlepaw ship fics. They have 22 fics in total. I don't remember if we looked that up last time.
Shout out.
Not much else to look for. I did see a couple folks on Tumblr shipping Frostpaw and Shadowsight, so I tried to see if there was anything for them on AO3. There was not. But I could see it. I think it could be cute. Yeah, there wasn't a ton to really look for on there. Obviously, not a lot of fics for this book, which, like, kind of makes sense, honestly.
Yeah, I just don't think there's a lot to work with here.
Yeah. Storygraph gave 3.92 stars with 223 reviews. A lot of folks calling it out as being a setup book for the final book of the arc, which very much so.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a setup book, 100%.
We did get to the setup book for this arc finally. I don't know. I feel like maybe there's been another one. I don't know.
And this person said the exact thing that I was thinking when it came to Splash Tale, this book, which is, I'd been liking this arc quite a bit, but I wish the villain had stayed more subtle. He has gotten cartoonishly evil. Like, exactly. He's so over the top now. It's like, it doesn't, and also because Frostpaw's not in RiverClan anymore, and our two other main characters aren't in RiverClan anymore, we have like zero idea why everyone's going along with this.
Yes.
Especially when he has not gotten his, like, even before he lied about getting his 9 lives, like, beforehand, he was very much not getting his 9 lives, and everyone knew it, and he was, like, having people, like, claw each other up, and it's like, okay, you guys know he only has 1 life, you could kill him, right?
It's very, yeah.
I think we have to kill this guy.
I think we have to kill this guy, Stephen.
And then a couple people noted how the end of this book felt very, like, kind of, with the whole Hairlight murder and stuff, like, it felt very, like, Rising Storm first arc kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's kind of nice to... More than one person pointed that out, which
continuing
was pretty cool to see.
I wish that the writing team was doing a better job of, like, drawing the parallels between the original RiverClan's original big woes and this, because I feel like there are a lot of parallel lines that could be drawn, but there's just not enough being written into the text to give it real resonance.
But that's pretty much all I got. Wasn't a ton to chew on out there. You want to take us to our Warrior Cat of the Week?
Yeah. My pick this week is our lovely fellow Bayshine.
Nice.
As I said earlier, I called out that I really appreciated some of the scenes that we had in here with him. I just think he's a great guy. Every time he shows up, he says something and I'm like, I like you. I like what you are saying. It's nice to have you around. And I like that Nightheart has a BFF. And I like that he has accepted Sunbeam into the friend group. And yeah, very happy. I wonder if they're going to set up him and Finchlight, maybe.
Maybe. That would make sense. Put the male protagonist best friend that he could be gay shipped with his sister instead. All jokes. I'm sorry. I'm a little bitter.
What about you?
I picked Puddleshine. I did really like the scene where they go and spy on Podlight and Splashtail. I thought that was like probably like one of the best scenes in the book.
Absolutely a highlight for sure.
And I like that he was like, I was really pissed off at him with the way he treated Shadowsight in the previous arc. I feel like he has learned.
Yeah.
And I like that he is more willing to listen to Frostpaw, like her concerns and also like her as a character with agency. Like I feel like he is a lot less overbearing with her, and I like that growth for him.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I was really happy with all of that stuff, and the seeing him sort of change his mind over the course of the book was fun. I'm always a big Puddleshine fan. I like him. Okay. Shall I take us out then?
Yeah, take me out back.
All right. Get over here. If you have thoughts, opinions, questions, or memes to share with us, you can write to us at pawsandclawspod@gmail.com. That's paws as in what a cat has, claws as in the part of speech, pod as in podcast. We are also on Blue Sky at Paws and Claws and on Tumblr at Paws Clause Pod. Listeners who are 18 years and older can come join us on Discord, which will be linked in the show notes. We are brought to you by the TWG Podcast Network, which you can find at theworstgarbage.online. You can find me on Tumblr or Blue Sky at Humble Goat and see the art that I do, including our podcast cover art, at scoutwilkinson.myportfolio.com.
And you can find me on Blue Sky at plot-twists or on Tumblr at antique-romantic. Our next episode will be out in 2 weeks, where we will discuss A Starless Clan Book 6, Star. Read along by buying the book from a local bookstore or checking out a copy from your local library. Until then, dear listeners, may StarClan guide your paws.
TWG, the worst garbage, online.